Hi, friends. This is the Reverend Rev Show. I want to welcome you. If you've not subscribed to our channel, I want to recommend that you subscribe to this channel. I want you to hit the bell at the top, and then your comments are very important. They're welcome. So kindly make sure that you are sending in comments. So far, we've gotten some topics people would want us to handle, and I'm grateful. We will definitely handle each and every one of them accordingly as the time will permit us. Definitely, we are here to serve you, and we will serve you. So today, we want to look at one of the comments we've gotten. I mean, from other people. We just want to look at one of them and try to talk about it today.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So someone sent in a comment. This is what he said. Okay. So this person has been married, I think, 3 months or less, and is a gentleman. And this is what the person told me, that when you are courting a lady, they are so nice to you, but after you marry them, then they change. And I tried to ask why. He didn't answer. So I wanted to discuss what are some of the things that, because I think he's not the first person who has said this to me before. People have that mindset, they have that perspective that when you are courting is a different ball game. When you marry is a different ball game. Somebody even told me that the gap between courtship and marriage is a huge gully you need to jump, because things change so totally that she sees that it as a gully. So I've heard it from men, I've heard it from women, and we want to talk about it. So we are going to talk about how the male sees it, how the female sees it. So right.
So for all of you if you are new to my channel, if you are new to this channel, I recommend that you watch some of the videos, because this particular question, we try to handle it in one of our programs, and then that's marriage and change. We talked a lot about it, so you can watch that. But then we'll still try to share some few things with you, but you can really find an in-depth to marriage and change. All right. So, like I said in that particular video, I said that people pretend most of the times, people behave themselves most of the times. And so, when they get into marriage, the true nature, the true character comes out. And then people get to see them for who they are. Because in marriage, you can't pretend anymore. It is said that that character is like pregnancy, that no matter how long you try to cover up pregnancy, eventually it will start showing for people to see. It's the same thing with character. If your character is some way and you decide to cover up, it won't be long. People will begin to see you for who you are. And the person who will get to know you better for who you are is the person you get married to, because that person is with you under the same roof. You can't hide anymore. You can't pretend anymore. Eventually, the true you will emerge. And so, folks, if you are watching me, have this at the back of your mind. If you are not yet married yet, have this at the back of your mind. And if you are married newly too, don't be surprised about these things we call changes. All right, they will definitely happen. But then, of course, yes, when you meet somebody, you want to show your very best. You want to put up your very best. And then when you can't put up that best, that pretense anymore, you try to settle in to be yourself. And that becomes a bit of a challenge. So I always want to advise that as you get into courtship, be yourself, be you, so that we don't see that great change when you get into marriage. You get the point.
I listened to a pastor, and the pastor was trying to, he was using the word be nice. And this pastor was saying that he knows men and women who come to church and they're so nice. I mean, they're nice to everybody. But when they get home, they become like a beast. Is it that people just want to be themselves, or people get so familiar that they don't consider the other party anymore? Because people could be married for years, okay, but they can be very nice outside. And I think it's Mark Kruger said that people are so nice and so holy, like the sisters, so holy, as if they cannot touch a fly. But when they get home, they start screaming at everybody and they talk anyhow to anybody. So, what do you make out of this? Is it people settle in or people taking their partners for granted?
Coming from the pastoral point of view, I know that Jesus condemned something in the Bible so strong. He was so hard on the Pharisees and the Sadducees because of their hypocritical nature. Okay, and so it's another thing that causes trouble. There are a lot of people who are hypocrites. They try to be what they are not. Okay, so that is an issue. It's a big issue when you pretend to be what you are not. Listen, if you're a nice person, be nice. If you are not a nice person, let's see that you are not a nice person. Another thing is that when
Rep,
yes,
how can you be in church and show that I can't be nice?
no, be yourself, be you. Let's know you for who you are, so that as the word comes, it can change you. Okay. Then another thing is that you should be willing to change for the better. You should be willing to change positively. Okay. So, because we are all evolving and we must change into better beings, better human beings. Listen, I know that it gets to a point where we become familiar with our spouses. All right. That's not really good. That familiarity to some extent is no good, which means that it makes you take them for granted. Okay. And that does not help any marriage. Once in a while, you get into that realm of familiarity, but you have to check yourself. You just have to check yourself and sit up. You don't take your spouse for granted. So that's where the hard work is, because you get pruned by your spouse. You become better by the offenses they bring you. And then before you know, you have changed. And it will amaze you that, hey, me, before, if you do this, I would have reacted this way. But now, you are becoming better. You are becoming more tolerant. You are becoming a better version of you, which is a very good thing. So the hypocrisy must be reduced.
Okay. So then, for as this gentleman told me this, and I asked why, and he wouldn't say. Someone else was around and asked that why is it that she doesn't give you what you want? Then it made me start thinking. I started thinking, okay, so he doesn't give you what you want. So I thought of this is the thing. The challenge is that I think people are not oriented into what marriage is about well. That's my thought. That people go into marriage, yes, for different reasons, but then they are also not aware of the expectation of the other person. So they come in with their own expectation, but then they don't know the expectation of the other person. So they get into it and they are unable to meet the other person's expectation. The other person just thinks, no, this person has changed. And one thing is the issue of sex in marriage. Okay, women go into marriage with friendship in mind, but I don't think men do that. What do you think on it? What's your take?
So people get into marriage with a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
Plenty reasons.
And Rev, for men, what could be some of their topmost reasons by priority?
Oh, men, most men, I don't know, the good ones, they actually want to settle down and build a home and build a family.
That's the priority.
So they want to settle and build a family. All right. They want companions, people that, because the way God created and designed marriage is that they want helpmates, people who can help them, people who will be there to encourage them, because two are always better than one. Life has a way of hitting you with blows. And so if you can come home and you won't be alone and you can have somebody to talk to, somebody to encourage you, don't give up, tomorrow is going to be better, it gets better. Definitely two is always better than one in any industry. So it is in marriage as well. And so, yes, I think that's it.
Do you have an idea of what the ladies Because for talking to a lot of ladies, they go there for friendship. For
Oh,
like
some ladies
that
too.
girl thing, you have this best friend you always talk to, you can talk to her. So they want to co-opt the male into that their best friend. They can talk to at any time, share anything with any time.
I wish that was true, and I wish that was really it. Because some ladies go in there for the money they will get. They go in there for the protection they will get from the guy. They go in there so that the bills are being paid by the guy. They go in there to be protected, cared for, and all that. That's not bad. It's the responsibility of the man to do all that. But if you really, really go in there for friendship, then just really get to know that the person is also ready to be your friend. Because if it becomes a boss and secretary thing at home, you might not be able to find that. And so it's a good thing to go into marriage to have a friend, but make sure the person also coming in is coming as a friend. Because some people will just want to remain as the husband, who just provide the responsibilities and doesn't really, really care about you. He has a television for you, he has everything, a car for you, he has all the foodstuffs at home, he has a nice house for you. Stay in there, they come back late in the night. There's no conversation on phone and all that. So you have become like a commodity, in the house. And they go out there and they hang around with their friends and they come home and that friendship, they're not able to build it. Maybe because of some disparities. But so you must be very careful that the friendship you are looking for is really, really in your husband so that you can have it when you get married. If not, you might think that, you've gotten the wrong person.
How do we then share the expectations? Because you've mentioned a lot of expectations from male side, expectation from the female side. How do we share
Marriage.
the expectations and make sure that both of us are aware that these are the expectations we both want from the other party before we get into this covenant? It's like conditions, I'm seeing it that conditions of marriage. I want A, B, C, D. How do we get, even though literally it's not done, but you realize that as you get into it, these are
The reality.
these are my conditions.
So there's something beyond the written words. That's somebody calls that chemistry. When you meet somebody up, you just realize that this is my friend. It just clicks. You flow together, you laugh together, you do things together. It just works. And so some people also call that soulmate. You found your soulmate. That chemistry thing just worked. I can't really give you practical steps, because if we do that, then it becomes a mechanical thing. Okay. But this thing goes beyond the point where you can't really explain it. The thing just works. It just works, and then it just clicks. And then you begin to file the edges. Filing the edges is also very, very difficult. It's painful. Then you begin to file the edges. But then for you to get to a point where you can say, now this is now the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. Hi.
So that means you can't say that at the beginning.
It's a serious matter.
Doesn't mean you can't say that at the beginning.
No, there are times you can meet somebody first time and it just clicks. Sometimes that click will actually work through into marriage. Sometimes you realize that, oh no, it was just on the surface. It's not leading anywhere. Okay. And then there are the ones you can intentionally decide to build. Like this morning, I was sending my daughter to school and she's like, hey, Daddy, I can develop interest into what I want to become. She's thinking about being a journalist, she's thinking about being a lawyer and blah, 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 So she was asking me, should she be a lawyer? I said, no, I need her to choose for herself and decide on what she wants to be. She says, hey, Daddy, as for me, if I put my heart at it, I can develop the interest, that will make me become what I want to become. To some extent, I agree with her, So you can develop that interest, to love somebody because love grows.
Okay, so you can intentionally
decide.
Intentionally
you can decide.
But then it must be reciprocated.
It must be reciprocated. If it does not reciprocate, then you will be wasting your time. You will be wasting your time. Sincerely.
Really, I think people should be able to share their expectations. Yes,
Before you even
before
get
they
into the
marry.
marriage. Yes.
Yes, it shouldn't just all be about the feelings. Yes, feelings does cloud everybody's mind. It will cloud your mind. The things that you are supposed to even be looking out for, you would ignore them. You would see things and you still talk to yourself that they do not exist. But if you are entering into a permanent relationship where you have eternity in mind, what I mean, where till death do us part, so that you don't come to the point where you think that the person has changed. I think that you need to say clearly that these are what I like, these I don't like, this is what I expect, this I don't expect. So that if the person's mind has even not been drawn to it, the person will start putting their mind to it. And this is what is expected of me, so that we don't put our energies into the wrong thing, where you are thinking I would rather do A to make my partner happy, and rather it's B that makes the person happy. I think we've come to a point, if we want marriages to last and we want to put away disappointment and give very little room for the enemy, we should come out clearly about our expectations, so that people don't get to think they are getting disappointed. Because just 3 months into marriage, I got worried. I got worried when the person said this, and all I said is, I think you need to speak to your wife. You need to share this with your wife. Partners must talk.
Yeah, so the
You don't
expectation is
pretend.
very important. The Bible says the expectation of the righteous will not be cut off. So even God expects the righteous person to have an expectation, all right? Then he can meet your expectation. Then you can see that he's been good to you. And so you have to share those expectations with one another and then let them know that this is what you expect in this marriage. If you didn't do that before marriage, well, you still can go back to the drawing board and do that, do that. I think we didn't do it. But then when we got into marriage, we realized that these things are very, very important. Some way, somehow, silently and quietly, and with the help of the Holy Spirit, I think we were able to meet one way or the other. But then, listen, we are sharing knowledge with you, and based on experience of 16 years. And so, listen, if you do that, it will help. If you are not married yet, please write those expectations down. Let your spouse to be write the expectations down, and then you try to meet it. If you know you can't meet the expectation, let them go their way so that you can also go your way, and forget about the lust. I will call it lust because it's not love. Because if it's love, then you'll be willing to meet the needs of the next person. If it is not lust, then it's love. If it's love, you really want to meet the need of the other person. But then if you're already married, like us, all right, then you need to go back to the drawing board and say, these are the expectations. This is what I expect from you. This is what I expect from you. And let's see how we can do that. No, it happens. It is just like the love language. Okay, you get to know your spouse's love language. Like, we have to figure it out. It was one after we got married that we started learning, that we came across Gary's book, Gary Chapman's book, and then we learned the love language. We were not taught that in counseling. Okay, and so we learned this along the line, and we decided that, okay, we'll try to speak each other's love language. Okay, and so yes, just like learning the love language and speaking your spouse's love language, there's nothing wrong with your spouse coming up to tell you, these are my expectations in this marriage. Yeah. Okay, and so let's try to meet the expectations. If you love me, you will speak something, yeah, and that will help me. Okay.
Yeah, if you love me, you buy me a gift. If you love me, you give me your quality time. If you love me, you touch me. These are all love languages of people. So get to know the expectations of your spouse and meet it. Listen to me. There is no bad marriage anywhere. There is no bad marriage. It's all about communication. So communicate about your expectations so that your needs will be met. So that you will not think that, oh no, she's strange. It's just because they don't know what you want. So they are giving you what they think you want. So if you don't want that, let them know. I want something else.
There's this woman of God I knew, okay, I know, Anytime you talk to her, she'll say, figure it out. I think it has become a cliche. It will just come out of her mouth. She says, figure it out. And just said, figure it out. I said, you see, when you allow people to figure things out, they'll figure it out in their own way. All right.
Yeah,
So
they don't understand it.
it's better you let them know what you want. Because the figuring out and figuring out might cause a lot of trouble for you. It will be waste of resources, waste of energy, waste of money, and maybe waste of even time. And you know that time is everything. All right. And so why don't we go straight to the head and say, these are my expectations in this marriage. Let's talk about it. All right. And then we'll move on. It is better.
It's better. It's better. So hope you've learned something and you're not only hearing, but you're going to put it into practice. So do it and let us know what came out of it. Let us know your experiences.
Yeah, so we have a lot of, before we round up, we have a lot of them. I know somebody wants us to talk about marriage and losses. All right. But then it becoming difficult for us because I've not lost Joy. Joy hasn't lost me. And listen, well, I'm going to be here for a very long time. She's also going to be here for a very long time. But then we have both lost parents. And so maybe we want to look at the parents, and I have lost a sibling. And so maybe we want to look at losing a parent and then losing a sibling, how it goes like.
Yeah.
But then I'll try to find somebody who has lost a spouse
Yeah.
and then try to interview the person so that we can have concrete information, right? We don't want to put out here anything we have no
want the
experience.
content to be good.
Anything we have no experience in. Okay, that wouldn't be serving you well. All right. So if you've loved this and if it has been insightful, then I recommend our previous videos as well. Kindly watch them, share them with your family members, share them with couples, and let's build a strong community on YouTube together. We love you, but God loves you more. Your marriage will definitely